Hi and welcome back to Mike vs. Kitchen, the show where I, Mike, give myself some kitchen challenges with the hopes of a delicious outcome and maybe learning something new. The inspiration for what I cook in these videos comes from a multitude of different places. Whether it's suggestions from friends, comments down below, or something I just feel like doing, there are many different rivers of inspiration that flow into the sea of average baking that comes out in this channel. Pain au chocolat, I see you, it's coming. While I was trawling the internet one day looking for recipes and a little bit of inspiration, I stumbled across a site with an article that is called something along the lines of 30 dishes to master before 30. This sparked both a little bit of intrigue and joy and a little bit of fear because I am very, very rapidly approaching 30. There are a couple that I can already do, some I'll never attempt, and of course some I still maybe want to master. This article is the inspiration for the series that I'm going to do going forward. So today's episode I'm going to be doing a dark chocolate and coffee mud cake. This is on the list of 30 recipes to master before 30, and the links to recipes as well as the article will once again be down below. So let's get started. This sounds exciting. So this cake once again is going to be split into two parts: cake, icing. It itself seems once again fairly simple, with a lot of chocolate going into it. I mean, like, I'm not complaining. The icing will essentially be chocolate ganache, I'm not really sure how to say this, but the icing is chocolate ganache, so it's melted chocolate and cream with a little bit of butter in there, just because, hey archeries, how are you doing? Michael, you are not funny. Step one of the cake is we're going to put our 150 grams of chocolate, 150 grams of butter, 80 ml of water, and half a teaspoon of ground coffee in a bowl, and then we're going to place it on a double boiler to melt the chocolate and combine everything. We do this on a double boiler because you can't heat chocolate too quickly, otherwise it will burn. A double boiler is essentially a pot of boiling water with a bowl on top. The steam from the boiling water heats the bowl on top. This helps melt the chocolate slowly and gently to not burn it or anything like that. Let's get started. Okay. Chocolate, butter. Oh, that smells nice. Love coffee. 80 ml of water. Let's get double boiling. Now that I have melted my chocolate and combined it with the butter, water and coffee, I can pop it into my stand mixer with the rest of my dry ingredients. But yeah, first things first, let's pop our chocolate mixture into the mixer. Okay, so now we can add the rest of our dry ingredients to the chocolate. This is the 150 grams of caster sugar, 150 grams of flour, 40 grams of cocoa, half a teaspoon of baking powder, and 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Let's get adding. Don't forget to sieve. Sugar, flour, cocoa, oh, messy. Spoon. And finally, 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Let's get mixing. Once all the ingredients are combined, you can now add your eggs one by one, mixing a little in between. Let's go, let's do this. Chocolatey perfection. Now that everything is combined, I can move my batter from my mixing bowl into my tin. I'm using a 23 centimeter springform pan. It has been pre-greased and papered, so it won't stick. Yeah, let's pop this in. Ooh, the mixture is very thick. I'm doing my best to get as much as possible. Oh, you know, that's a lot of what baking is about. Just doing your best and seeing what happens. I mean, that is all we can do. And maybe that's a great metaphor for life too. You shoot your best shot, you do your best, and what happens, happens. Yeah, what happens, happens. Okay, now I'm also going to try smooth this out and get as flat a cake as possible. Let's go. Oh god, okay. You want to be careful when doing this because it's moving my paper, which is not ideal. Now that I've done my best to smooth out the batter, I'm going to pop this in an oven preheated to either 170 degrees centigrade for a regular oven or 150 degrees centigrade for a convection oven for 40 to 50 minutes until a skewer comes out the center clean. Let's get baking. 40 minutes later, my cake is out the oven. Now what I'm going to do is put it to a side on a wire rack to cool while I make the chocolate ganache icing. The chocolate ganache icing is going to be prepared in a similar way to the chocolate for the cake itself. I'm going to take my chocolate butter and this time cream, put them in a double boiler, melt the chocolate and mix until, whisk until smooth. This will create a delicious and decadent chocolate ganache. This will be poured over the top of my cake and then it'll be allowed to stand and set. Just a disclaimer, the cake itself needs to be quite cool when you pour the chocolate ganache on it, from what I understand. If the cake is too warm, it will melt the chocolate and everything will just flow off. So you want it to be nice and cool when you put your chocolate ganache on. You also need your chocolate ganache to stand a little bit before you pour it onto the cake, because if it is also too hot, it will just run off. You want it to create a nice thick coating on the cake itself, so it can't be too warm. Let's get started. Now that my cake is cooled and my ganache is busy cooling, I am going to trim the cake slightly before pouring the ganache over. This is to flatten the top a little, so the ganache doesn't run over the sides too quickly. It will also make it look a little more shapely and all of that. Cool, so let's get trimming. Now that I've trimmed my cake and made the top as level as possible, I'm going to clean up my crumbs and get ready to pour my ganache. Let's do this. Before I pour my ganache, I'm going to put my cake on a tray over a baking tin, so when I pour it, I can at least catch the run over ganache. This run over ganache can be used later for other projects or for just general eating. Let's get pouring. Now that I have gnashed my cake, I'm going to pop him in the fridge and let him set properly. After this, we'll do a little bit of decorating and then we're ready to eat. Getting excited now. After having let my cake cool in the fridge for a little while so the ganache could become more solid, I'm now going to decorate. First I'm going to pop some powdered sugar on the top to get a nice little sprinkle of white and then some grated chocolate. There we have it, a beautiful dark chocolate and coffee mud cake. Only thing left to do now is carve him up and enjoy. So here is the moment of truth. Let's try it. Very rich, moist, absolutely delicious. It will go down well with a good cup of coffee. Thank you for tuning into yet another episode of Mike vs. Kitchen. This is hopefully the start of something new, with me tackling a couple dishes on the 30 dishes to master before you turn 30 list. My clock is ticking, so I better get started on these. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe down below. Leave me some hints, tips and maybe a challenge for the future. Stay safe. Thanks again for watching. Bye.
Okay.